Shalom. My name is Yadon Yasharal, and with my brother YahNatan Yasharal. And the title of today's Bible study is Trust Not Every Spirit. Trust not every spirit. And, you meet people and you be like, he has a good spirit about him. He has a good vibe. Or you run across somebody and say, I don't like his vibe. Something about this brother. I don't know, I don't know him like that, but don't want to judge, but I'm already weary because of his vibe, something. Well, a lot of it is based on what we see and preconceived and prejudices and experience and things of that nature, and other is based on what you want to believe. This woman is beautiful. Oh man, she's great. She's righteous. She's a virtuous woman. I've been looking for this Proverbs woman. And then you have the other side where you have a servant who's meek and he's humble and he's not worldly, showing all the riches of the world, and we esteem him. A younger gentleman, we esteem him. Oh, he just I can't trust him. I can't trust. I need an old hoary headed man. That got fringes that look like a wedding dress. All the way in the back, and his head wrapped like he a mummy, and that's who we want to learn from. Well, what we have to understand is that the adversary is very crafty. He knows what we look for. We haven't changed. We're doing the same foolishness now that we were doing back then. So why does he need to change his game? But we were given the equalizer. We were given the Spirit, the Holy Spirit, which is the Spirit of truth, a comforter, which would lead us and show us, hey, where do we need to go? Who do we need to listen to? Who do we need to follow? But we're also told to study to show ourselves approved so we can identify the Spirit. But you got to try the Spirit by the Spirit to know what spirit you're dealing with. But how are you going to know that if you don't know right from wrong? And that's what it all boils down to, right and wrong. Which way am I going to go? So we're going to open up in 1 Corinthians chapter 12. And we're going to look at some of these gifts of the Spirit because, if you have the Spirit or you're dealing with a spirit, there'll be evidence of that in what you bear, in your words, in your actions, in your behavior, in your fruit that you bear. And again, the title of today's Bible study is Trust Not Every Spirit. And we're opening up in 1 Corinthians chapter 12. And we're going to start this at verse 1.
Now concerning spiritual gifts, brethren, I would not have you ignorant. You know that you were Gentiles, carried away unto these dumb idols, even as you were led.
All right, so let's stop right there. Let's just take a look at that real quick. So it says that you were Gentiles. So at this point, a lot of people like to automatically assume, they talk about Israel. All Israel is Gentiles. Or other people will assume, this is talking about white people. So we're going to look at the Greek and see what was the Greek word that was used. We see the Greek word used here is ethnos, G1484, which is spelled Ethnos, a race, as of the same habit, that is a tribe, specifically foreign, non-Jewish one, usually by implication, pagan, Gentile, heathen nation people. So this is talking about another race, another group of individuals. So he's telling you who he's talking to. Go ahead.
Wherefore I give you to understand that no man speaking by the Spirit of Yahweh calls Yahshua accursed, and no man can say that Yahshua is the master but by the Holy Spirit. Now there are diversities of gifts, but the same Spirit. And these are differences of administration, but the same master. And there are diversities of operations, but it is the same Elohim which works in all in all. But the manifestation of the Spirit is given to every man to profit withal.
Okay, so the Spirit is given unto every man to profit withal. So it's not like we have a trademark on the Spirit that, we the only ones that have the Spirit. No, that's not true. Because if I'm talking to a Gentile, someone of another nation, and I speak righteousness unto them, and they see it and accept it and understand it, that's the Spirit. That's not their flesh saying, you know what, that's great. That's the spirit, because the spirit in doing righteousness a lot of times requires for you to have to put somebody before you, put somebody else before your own pleasure, your own flesh. So he confirmed right here when he said, you know that you were Gentiles, ethnos, another race of people, heathen nation of people, dumb, carried away unto these dumb idols. Then he goes on and says that the Spirit is given to all man to profit withal. Go ahead, verse 8.
Verse 8. For to one is given by the Spirit the word of wisdom, to another the word of knowledge by the same Spirit, to another faith by the same Spirit, to another the gifts of healing by the same Spirit, to another the working of miracles, to another prophecy, to another discerning of spirits, to another diverse kinds of tongues, to another the interpretation of tongues. But all these work that one and the self-same Spirit, dividing to every man severally as he will. For as the body is one and has many members, and all the members of that one body being many are one body, so also is Mashiach. For by one Spirit are we all baptized into one body, whether we be Yehudim or Gentiles, whether we be bond or free, and have been all made to drink into one Spirit. For the body is not one member, but many. If the foot shall say, because I am not the hand, I am not of the body, is it therefore not of the body? And if the ear shall say, because I am not the eye, I am not of the body, is it therefore not of the body? If the whole body were an eye, where were the hearing? If the whole were hearing, where were the smelling? But now has Elohim set the members, every one of them in the body, as it pleased him.
So Yahweh set all the members, every one of them in the body, as it has pleased him. So he decided, you know what, I'm going to take this body and I'm going to make it the head. I'm going to make it Yahshua. And these people, this nation, I'm going to make them part of him. That's his right. He's the creator. He's decided how he wants to place people. But at the end of the day, you still need a foot. You still need a leg. And to walk with this body and be part of this body, there has to be that spirit that's guiding that whole body. So there has to be a spirit, and we saw one of these spirits as faith. The Gentiles and the Gentile nations, the Goyim, they're saved by faith. Israel, we're saved by covenant. There's a difference. But faith is a spirit. And like we understand in James or Yaakov, show me faith. Faith without works is dead. So what good is it you believe, yeah, I believe that you're true. And you talk to people like that. I believe that that's right. You know, those are the commandments. I believe it. Are you going to do it? Nah. What good is that? That's not real faith. But that takes a spirit to make you want to say, you know what? I understand this. I'm going to act on that. Go ahead.
Verse 19. And if they were all one member, where were the body? But now are they many members, yet but one body. And the eye cannot say unto the hand, I have no need of you, nor again the head to the feet, I have no need of you. Nay, much more those members of the body which seem to be more feeble are necessary, and those members of the body which we think to be less honorable, upon these we bestow more abundant honor, and our uncomely parts have more abundant comeliness. For our comely parts have no need, but Elohim has tempered the body together, having given more abundant honor to that part which lacks.
So the comely part, the head, the face of Yasharal is a comely part. And it was given everything. The uncomely parts, the other parts of the nation, now we were called the head, so what were they called? The tail.
Or the arm of the
point blank. We were called the head, they were called the tail. That's an uncomely part. But more honor was given unto them because a whole nation of people was sent out to teach you this righteousness. So that's very important. Go ahead.
Verse 25. That there should be no schism in the body, but that the members should have the same care for one another. And whether one member suffer, all the members suffer with it. or one member be honored, all the members rejoice with it. Now you are the body of Mashiach, and members in particular. And Elohim has set some in the assembly: first apostles, secondarily prophets, thirdly teachers, after that miracles, then gifts of healing, helps, government, diversities of tongues. Are all apostles? Are all prophets? Are all teachers? Are all workers of miracles? Have all the gifts of healing? Do all speak with tongues? Do all interpret? But covet earnestly the best gift, and yet show I unto you a more excellent way.
All right. So, being that this new body that we're talking about in the Mashiach, now this involves the other nations. Before, the other nations weren't really part of the body. They were just dwelling with us and had to keep whatever we did. But through the Mashiach, they're now being invited into the body. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 18. But for you to be part of this body, you got to have a spirit. The spirit of Yasharal. And that spirit is given out to Yasharal first. Devarim chapter 18. And we're going to start this at verse 1.
The priest, the Levite, and all the tribe of Levi shall have no part nor inheritance with Yasharal. They shall eat the offerings of Yahweh made by fire and his inheritance. Therefore shall they have no inheritance among their brethren. Yahweh is their inheritance, as he has said unto them.
So they have no inheritance. They have no land. They weren't given any land for them to have and say, this is the tribe of Levi. This is where Levi's section is. No, they got a little piece of every tribe so that they can do their work. But they didn't receive land in which they could, and that land belonged to all the Yasharal, because all the Yasharal had to come to those places to keep the law and do the things that they need to do. So this is what one of the original reasons for tithes, because everybody else received from the Father an inheritance and were being abundant in that land. So you had to share with your brethren. The same way you had to share with the poor and the fatherless and the widows. Go ahead.
Verse 3. And this shall be the priest's due from the people, from them that offer a sacrifice, whether it be ox or sheep, and they shall give unto the priest the shoulder, and the 2 cheeks, and the maw,
the stomach,
the first fruit also of your corn, of your wine, and of your oil, and the first of the fleece of your sheep shall you give him. For Yahweh your Elohim has chosen him out of all your tribes, to stand to minister in the name of Yahweh, him and his sons, forever. And if a Levite come from any of your gates out of all Yasharal where he sojourned, and come with all the desire of his mind unto the place where Yahweh shall choose, then he shall minister in the name of Yahweh his Elohim, as all his brethren the Levites do, which stand before Yahweh. They shall have like portions to eat, beside that which comes of the sale of his patrimony. When you are come into the land which Yahweh your Elohim gives you, you shall not learn to do after the abominations of those nations. There shall not be found among you any one that makes his son or his daughter to pass through the fire, or that uses divination, or an observer of times, or an enchanter, or a witch, or a charmer, or a consulter with familiar spirits, or a wizard, or a necromancer.
All right. So all these activities are spiritism, are dealing with other types of spirits, dealing with wickedness, using deception, using evil tactics is what these different things are. And you can look at each individual definition of them. You can see these different things, looking up at the sky and trying to determine the future, doing all these things to tap into other spirit other than the spirit of truth, other than Yah. And all these things is what all the other nations did. The other nations had access to spirit as well, but they decided to go after the wicked spirits. They decided to go after those type of things. Go ahead.
Verse 12. For all that do these things are an abomination unto Yahweh. And because of these abominations, Yahweh your Elohim does drive them out from before you. You shall be perfect with Yahweh your Elohim. For these nations which you shall possess hearkened unto observers of time and unto diviners. But as for you, Yahweh Elohim has not suffered you so to do.
All right, we can stop right there. Let's go to 1 Samuel chapter 9.
And brother, when you read, Jubilee, Jasher, Enoch, this knowledge of the knowledge of Yahweh was already in the world. And these nations went astray on their own accord, decided that they wanted to look up into the sky. When you admonish them, hey, don't do that, repent, they ignored it. So Yahweh allowed it and said, all right, I'm going to pour out the wrath on your children and wipe them out, and my children are going to inherit these lands.
Well, what they didn't understand was there were actual spirits that were coming to them. And Enoch will get into that. These are angels. Angels are just messengers. They're spirits. So they're dealing with other spirits, but because they don't know Yahweh like that, they don't know Yah the way we know him, they're carried away because as soon as this spirit comes down and says, hey, let me show you how to build brick. And then, oh my goodness, this is God. This is God. Oh, this is him. Then they would take of that and they would learn all the wicked ways and the spirit tell them, cut yourself. Cut yourself and bleed over here and you're going to have the power to do this. Or, drink this cactus juice and pray to this God's name, who means who knows what it means. And a spirit is going to appear to you and tell you what you need to do. And this was real. This is real things that was happening, real documented things that people were seeing and going through and being able to do. But they were dealing with other spirits. We know better. We know the difference that we know there's wicked spirits out there. We know there's evil spirits out there that have left their former state. The third of the angels that left their former state, the Malachim. We know that they're out there. We know they deceived man. We know they were going to get punished. And we know we will judge them at a later date. So we shouldn't fall in those same traps because we were given the blueprint. We were given direction from the Creator himself, the Father of all spirits, that told us, look, stay away from this, stay away from that, because that's wicked. Yahweh is not going to come and deal this way. But disobedient ones will come and deal this way that are trying to take his place and have his power and influence the way they want to influence. And what Yahweh is not really fully letting everybody understand that doesn't have the spirit is that all of this is Yah's will. He's allowing this to happen because he's like, go ahead. Let's see if you can make my servant curse me. I'm not going to let every one of my children go through this test. They're not ready for it. But the ones that are ready, I'm letting them do the test to determine how can I use them? How loyal is he to me? Who is going to be my captains of tens and thousands and hundreds of thousands? So we're in 1 Samuel chapter 9, and we're going to see here where they're going to use the reference of fear. And we know that's not always a good term, but we want to see where this originated from and then how it kind of shifted and changed a little bit. 1 Samuel chapter 9.
Now there was a man of Benjamin whose name was Kish, the son of Abiel, the son of Zeror, the son of Bechorah, the son of Aphiah, a Benjamite, a mighty man of power. And he had a son whose name was Saul, a choice young man, and a goodly. And there was not among the children of Yasharal a goodlier person than he. From his shoulders upward he was higher than any of the people. And the donkeys of Kish, Saul's father, were lost. And Kish said to Saul, his son, take now one of the servants with you, and arise, and go seek the donkeys. And he passed through Mount Ephraim, and passed through the land of Shalisha, but they found them not. And they passed through the land of Shalim, and there they were not. And he passed through the land of the Benjamites, but they found them not. And when they were come to the land of Zuph, Saul said to his servant that was with him, come and let us return, lest my father leave caring for the donkeys and take thought for us. And he said unto him, behold now, there is in this city a man of Elohim, and he is an honorable man. All that he says comes surely to pass. Now let us go there. Peradventure he can show us our way that we should go. Then Saul said to his servant, but behold, if we go, what shall we bring the man? For the bread is spent in our vessels, and there is not a present to bring to the man of Elohim what we have. And the servant answered Saul again and said, Behold, I have here at hand the fourth part of a shekel of silver. That will I give to the man of Elohim to tell us our way. Before time in Yasharal, when a man went to inquire of Elohim, thus he spoke, Come and let us go to the seer. For he that is now called a prophet was before time called a seer.
All right. So in the old times, they weren't called prophets. They were called seers. But what you'll see is that a prophet or a seer was somebody that was able to predict the future and say this is what was going to happen. Now, there was many ways that people could do that. Some people did it by deception. Other people did it by conjuring up evil spirits and talking, get information about things they're not supposed to know. And others were given this by Yah. And those were called the prophets of Yah. Everybody else was just prophets at that point. But originally they were called seers. Go ahead.
Verse 10. Then said Saul to his servant, Well said, come, let us go. So they went unto the city where the man of Elohim was. And as they went up the hill to the city, they found young maidens going out to draw water, and said unto them, Is the seer here? And they answered him and said, He is. Behold, he is before you. Make haste now, for he come today to the city, for there is a sacrifice of the people today in the high place. As soon as you be come into the city, you shall straightway find him before he go up to the high place to eat. For the people will not eat until he is come, because he does bless the sacrifice, and afterwards they eat that be bidden. Now therefore get you up, for about this time you shall find him. And they went up into the city, and when they were come unto the city, behold, Shamuel came out against them, for to go up to the high place. Now Yahweh had told Shamuel in his ear a day before Saul came, saying, Tomorrow about this time I will send you a man out of the land of Benjamin, and you shall anoint him to be captain over my people, Yasharal, that he may save my people out of the hand of the Philistines. For I have looked upon my people, because their cry is come unto me. And when Shamuel saw Saul, Yahweh said unto him, Behold, the man whom I spoke to you of, this same shall reign over my people. Then Saul drew near to Samuel in the gate, and said, Tell me, I pray you, where the seer's house is? And Samuel answered Saul and said, I am the seer. Go up before me into the high place, for you shall eat with me today, and tomorrow I will let you go, and will tell you all that is in your heart.
All right. So the Hebrew word that was used for seer was H7200, which is Ra'ah. Ra'ah, spelled R-A-A-H. And that's a primitive root to see, literally or figuratively, in numerous applications, direct and implied, transitively, intransitively, and advise, self, appear, approve, behold, consider, discerner, enjoy, gaze, take heed, look on, one on another, one upon another, mark, meet, be near, perceive, present, provide, regard, have respect. So it had a lot of meaning to it. But you'll see there's a different word that's used for prophet. Go ahead.
Verse 20. And as for your donkeys that were lost 3 days ago, set not your mind on them, for they are found. And on whom is all the desire of Yasharal? Is it not on you? And on all your father's house? And Saul answered and said, Am not I a Benjamite, of the smallest of the tribes of Yasharal? And my family the least of all the families of the tribe of Benjamin? Wherefore then speak you so to me? And Samuel took Saul and his servant, and brought them into the parlor, and made them sit in the chiefest place among them that were bidden, which were about 30 persons. And Samuel said unto the cook, Bring the portion which I gave you, of which I said unto you, set it by you. And the cook took up the shoulder that was upon it, and set it before Saul. And Samuel said, Behold that which is left, set it before you, and eat. For unto this time has it been kept for you, since I said, I have invited the people. So Saul did eat with Samuel that day. And when they were come down from the high place unto the city, Samuel communed with Saul upon the top of the house. And they arose early, and it came to pass about the spring of the day that Samuel called Saul to the top of the house, saying, Up, that I may send you away. And Saul arose, and they went out, both of them, he and Samuel, abroad. And as they were going down to the end of the city, Samuel said to Saul, Bid the servant to pass on before us. And he passed on. But stand you still a while, that I may show you the word of Elohim.
And that's the difference between a seer and a prophet. Because a prophet of Yahweh, well, a prophet of Yahweh versus a prophet or a seer, is the prophet of Yahweh is going to tell you the word of Elohim. He's going to tell you the word of Yahweh. Now, a prophet or a seer may give you the word of whatever spirit they're dealing with. You won't know until you get the results of it. Now, the prophet, the Hebrew word used for prophet is age 50-30. 50-30, which is Nabi, spelled N-A, that's N as in Nancy, A, B as in boy, I-Y, Nabi. And that's from age 50-12, a prophet, or generally inspired man, prophecy, that is prophesied or prophet. All right, so let's go to 1 John, 1 YahNatan, chapter 4. And, you see individuals in there and they say, God told me to do this. God told me to do this. And they're not all crazy. Somebody told them to do something. They'll call it mental illness or they'll call it whatever, but somebody told them that. But the difference is, did you try the spirit by the spirit? But you got to have the spirit to try that spirit. The spirit of truth, to know you're dealing with the spirit of truth, you got to have the spirit of truth. They use the term, well, it takes one to know one. Well, you got to have that spirit of truth so that you can say, that's the spirit of truth. This, I don't know. This is not true. There's something wrong here. I don't know what I'm doing. Let me tarry for a little bit. Let me pray to my Elohim. Let me find something out here. 1 YahNatan, chapter 4. And we're going to start this at verse 1.
Beloved, believe not every spirit, but try the spirits whether they are of Elohim, because many false prophets are gone out into the world. Hereby know you the spirit of Elohim. Every spirit that confesses that Yahshua Mashiach is come in the flesh is of Elohim. And every spirit that confesses not that Yahshua Mashiach is come in the flesh is not of Elohim. That should be Yahweh. All of those should be Yahweh. And this is that spirit of anti-Messiah, whereof you have heard that it should come, even now. Already is it in the world. You are of Elohim, little children, and have overcome them, because greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. They are of the world, therefore speak they of the world, and the world hears them. We are of Elohim. He that knows Elohim hears us, and he that is not of Elohim hears us not. Hereby know we the spirit of truth and the spirit of error.
All right, so that's how we know the spirit of truth and the spirit of error. We know if we're dealing with a spirit of Yah, because the truth, we know it. We're going to speak the truth. And if you don't hear the words of this book, you don't hear the law, you don't hear righteousness, then you are of another spirit, and we are spiritual creatures. Because how you just get an idea out of nowhere to just do something, whether it's good or bad? Some kind of spirit influenced you, but you have the choice to decide, am I going to listen to that spirit? The spirit can only make you feel a certain way. It can't force you to do something unless you just got to the point where Yah is going to use you as a vessel of dishonor. Go ahead.
Verse 7. Beloved, let us love one another, for love is of Elohim, and everyone that loves is born of Elohim and knows Elohim. He that loves not knows not Elohim, for Yahweh is love. In this was manifested the love of Yahweh toward us, because that Yahweh sent his only begotten Son into the world, that we might live through him. Herein is love, not that we loved Yahweh, but that he loved us and sent his Son to be the propitiation for our sins. Beloved, if Yahweh so loved us, we ought also to love one another. No man has seen Yahweh at any time. If we love one another, Elohim dwells in us, and his love is perfected in us.
So that's another way to try the spirit. When you deal with a brother, Whether you correcting him or whether you agreeing or whether you asking him a question, does he deal with you in love? It doesn't even matter if he's a Gentile or if he's a Hebrew or a heathen or whatever. How do they deal with you? They deal with you in love. And we know the definition of love because we are supposed to be the ones that know these commandments. Do they deal with you in that manner? If they're dealing with you in that manner, then you know you're dealing with a spirit of Yahweh there. Does that mean he has the Holy Spirit, the Spirit of truth, and has, the Spirit of Yasharal? That isn't necessary. You need to find out a few more things. But this is how you know you're dealing. So if you're dealing with your brother and you trying to correct him, and he comes slick off at the mouth and start calling you names and everything because you disagree with him, you know what? He's dealing with a different spirit there. The problem is we can be dealing with multiple spirits at once. And we'll see that situation in here where you saw the brothers that when the house was swept clean and the evil spirit leaves, he gonna get 7 more wicked spirits even worse than him, and they come back and they dwell because there's no covering there. Go ahead.
Verse 13. Hereby we know that we dwell in him and he in us, because he has given us of his Spirit. We have seen and do testify that the Father sent the Son to be the Savior of the world. Whosoever shall confess that Yahshua is the Son of Yahweh, Elohim dwells in him, and he in Elohim.
You got that doesn't mean whosoever shall confess that Jesus is the Son of God, God dwell in him, and he in God. It doesn't mean that. You're not confessing Yahshua if you ain't saying his name. Because when you say his name, you saying Yah is salvation. You saying the whole spirit behind it. And it takes a spirit for you to be able to say that. Because everything in us, which was another spirit back in the day, I can't leave that name Jesus. I don't know. I've been using God. Now, how difficult is somebody tell you, bro, that's not my name, bro. It's not YahNatan. It's YahNatan. After a couple times, you're like, YahNatan, YahNatan. Okay. After a couple times, you're going to be like, oh, dude, you going to keep disrespecting me, bro? You mean you can't figure this out? So, with the Most High, it's the same way. Once it's been presented to you, it's been proven to you, it's showing you that first of all, it ain't YahNatan. We know that. We know that for a fact. It might be this, it might be that, but it ain't that. And you're not taking the time to find out my name, that means you don't care. Go ahead.
Verse 17. Herein is our love made perfect, that we may have boldness in the day of judgment, because as he is, so are we in this world. There is no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear, because fear has torment. He that fears is not made perfect in love.
So if you have fear, then you're going to act according to the flesh. That means your flesh is controlling you. Fear is a spirit, but it's a spirit that likes to control the flesh. Fear is not real. You can't touch fear. Like, oh, there's some fear over there. Oh, I get it. You can't touch fear. Now, danger is real. Danger is real. If you got a gun to my head, I don't care how much I don't fear this gun. It's danger. You're in danger, period. Because I can pull the trigger, and if everything works right, you're going to get shot in the head. But the fear of that is not real. You have a choice. And there is no fear of perfect love because I love my Father and my Father loves me. No matter what you do, you can kill my body, but you can't kill my soul. If I have any fear, it's a reverence of the Father of Spirit that can kill my flesh and my spirit. So I'm not going to fear you. Go ahead.
Verse 20. If a man...
No, 19.
Verse 19. We love him because he first loved us. If a man say, I love Elohim and hates his brother, he's a liar. For he that loves not his brother whom he has seen, how can he love Elohim whom he has not seen? And this commandment have we from him, that he who loves Elohim love his brother also.
So if you love Yah, you love your brother. Because how could you dislike one of your father's children? Now, dislike and hate, dislike is one thing, I don't particularly like to do, but hate is a strong word. How can you hate this person? Because if you hate somebody, you're not going to do anything for that person. You're not going to try to save their life. You're not going to try to do their welfare because you hate it. You want something bad. You want to curse this individual. You hate somebody. Dislike might be like, I don't particularly like the way this brother acts, but I'm not going to hate him. If he's going to kill himself, I'm going to give him some water. I'm going to do something. I'm going to help him. I don't want to see him die. But somebody you hate, you want dead. Let's go ahead and go to 1 Peter chapter 5. So how can you hate somebody you love? Children. How is that possible? That's a conditional love. 1 Peter chapter 5. We're going to start that at verse 1.
The elders which are among you I exhort, who am also an elder, and a witness of the sufferings of Mashiach, and also a partaker of the glory that shall be revealed. Feed the flock of Elohim which is among you, taking oversight thereof, not by constraint, but willingly, not for filthy lucre, but ready of mind. Neither as being masters over Yahweh's heritage, but being examples to the flock. And when the chief shepherd shall appear, he shall receive a crown of glory that fades not away. Likewise, you younger, submit yourselves unto the elder. Yea, all of you be subject one to another, and be clothed with humility. For Elohim resists the proud and gives grace to the humble.
Okay, so you're supposed to give the elder a double portion of honor. You're supposed to give him the benefit of the doubt. But at the end of the day, an elder will lead you right into a ditch. You still have to try the spirit by the spirit. And just because somebody did good, don't mean that they won't do bad. Because just about everybody in here, except for the perfect person, has done some kind of sin, has done some kind of bad. So what happens if you in that portion of their life, or you in that part of their life, or where their eyesight is getting bad, like Esau, when his eyesight was getting bad, Yahweh had to go around him and go through his wife. His eyesight was bad because he was taking an affinity to somebody who was receiving gifts from, getting that nice savory meat. Not to say that this person is a bad person. Well, maybe that's your opportunity to step up as part of the body and say, wait a minute, no, you taught me this. This is not according to this. Your flesh is weak right now, or you being subject to a spirit. Let's get in this. Let's deal with this.
Go ahead. Verse 6. Humble yourselves, therefore, under the mighty hand of Elohim, that he may exalt you in due time, casting all your care upon him, for he cares for you. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walks about, seeking whom he may devour.
So, the adversary, the devil, Satan, a roaring lion that walks about seeking whom he may devour. So do you think there's an actual lion, real lion just running around, looking to bite you or something?
Might as well.
If that's what you're looking for, and that's what you're looking out, like you're going to see some ugly man walk up to you with devil horn that's coming to devour you. No, you're going to see a beautiful woman that you've been admiring your whole life growing up. You always want to get with that girl. And she'll bring that evil spirit onto you. Or it'll be your best friend, or it'll be your neighbor, or it'll be your mother, your father, anybody who needs to use at that time to get you off the narrow path, she will use. That is the adversary. Satan, devil, all that just means adversary. That's all that means. That's a brand of against righteousness, wickedness. That's all that is. Now, there's a head of that, Lucifer, that took over, but that spirit of the Antichrist, that spirit of the adversary, is a spirit of false, of lies, of wickedness that can be placed on any person that does not have a covering. Now,
brother,
go ahead, brother.
Someone was saying that too. I mean, just kind of stress what you were saying, because I'm glad you're bringing that point out. Look at something very simple that people didn't understand about Peter, Cephas. He was with Yeshua, and Yeshua was trying to tell him what was going to happen, what he had to go and do. And Cephas, because of his love, and he didn't want that to happen, and say he was sincere, but he was sincerely wrong due to the fact that the enemy spoke through his mouth, and Yeshua had to discipline, or let's say rebuke the enemy, because he said, no, this is not happening to you. You know, when he told him I have to be crucified by Pontius Pilate, you know, and die, you know, and he was telling them, no, you know, you're not going to do that, you know. But the person that was speaking, he was dealing with was Lucifer, you know, Satan.
How did Cephas, how did Kepha know that? I mean, excuse me. How did Yahshua know who he was dealing with?
Because it was going against the word, against what he had,
against what his father said.
That's right. You know, and now you got, just like, you know, I'm glad you brought that point out, so all who listening, and maybe who in the future were listening, would also test the spirit by the spirit, because even though, what's on the TV today? I mean, they got a new program, I don't know if it's on yet or if it's coming on, a new series about Lucifer. He's a good-looking Gentile, you know, who's having a party in California, because that's the place to be, a vacation. So who knows the kind of stuff he's going to wreck there, but yet people thinking that Satan is just going to come to in a red suit and horns. You know?
Right.
If anybody that acts as an antichrist or speaks as an antichrist willingly and does not change that, you know, your father is at that point in time is Lucifer. You know, because you're coming against the word of Yeshua, of Yahweh, really, through Yeshua. So I wanted to bring that point out because that's something that people sometimes don't understand.
And that's a great point, because if he can use the rock of the church right in front of Yahshua, right next to Yahshua, while Yahshua is right next to him, if he can use him, who's your brother next to you? Who's your brother next to you? If he can use the rock of the church in front of the head of the body himself, Israel in the flesh, then who is your brother next to you, or who are you? But we have that advantage, the same advantage Yahshua had. That no. You look like my brother that I love, that I'm about to give the keys to the kingdom to, you know. But at the end of the day, nah, bro. You saying the opposite of what my father said, bro. That's Satan. That's the adversary. That's not Cephas right now speaking. That's the adversary of the devil. That's right. A great point, brother.
And on top of that, it depends on how fast you recover once you realize your mouth, you said the wrong thing or you was used. You recover by repenting, you know, and, you know, I believe Cephas did, you know, repent, you know what I mean? Because he got corrected right there. And, you know, you correct the brother, you know, he's going to be a wise brother, you know, because when you correct the person who won't be corrected, you know, don't care, you become a mocker, you know, a fool. So the deal is that we gonna go through these things in our life, but and said, you know, we supposed to correct our brother, you know what I mean, to help him, you know, and not, you know, suffering to say those things and be that way, you know, because he told you to do it, you know. So that's why I had to bring that point out a little stronger, because that was very good what you brought up. But people need to understand that.
Right. And it wasn't like he didn't already know this. Again, that's such a great example, because he was sincere. He meant in a good way that no, because I'm gonna fight for you. No, this can't happen. I don't want this to happen. But it wasn't like he wasn't told already what was going to happen. He was told about that way in advance. This is coming towards the end. He's been walking with everybody saying, I got to die for my people. He's been told him that, and I'm going to come back the third day. So it wasn't like the first time he heard this, but he let his flesh and his emotion and that spirit come over him to cause him to blaspheme the Holy Spirit. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 9. Whom resist steadfast in the faith, knowing that the same afflictions are accomplished in your brethren that are in the world. But the Elohim of all grace, who has called us unto his eternal glory by Messiah Yeshua, after that you have suffered a while, make you perfect, establish, strengthen, settle you. To him be glory and dominion forever and ever. Amen. By Sylvanus, a faithful brother unto you, as I suppose, I have written briefly, exhorting and testifying that this is the true grace of Elohim wherein you stand. The assembly that is in Babylon, elected together with you, salute you. And so does Marcus, my son. Greet you one another with a kiss of charity. Peace be with you all that are in Mashiach Yeshua. Amen.
All right. Let's move on to Yasharal chapter 8. So you have to try the Spirit by the Spirit, and understand that the adversary is out here with his spirit looking for somebody to devour. But he's not looking for the tough people. He's looking for the easy ones. He get all the easy ones so that he can use them to go against the tough ones. So he's not going to always just come outright like he's going to send a spirit himself, which they would call a ghost or, some kind of, demon or whatever. He's going to send a person inhabited by that to come at you. He's going to use different people because you'll see that demon coming. If a demon walks up to you with the scary horns and says, "Oh, follow and worship me," or "cut yourself," you'll be running like crazy. Like, man, I ain't dealing with that. That's the adversary of the devil. I'm out of here. Pow. No, he's going to use your best friend. He's going to use you. He's going to use whoever. And it's going to take even within you to try the Spirit by the Spirit. Say, wait a minute. I'm exceedingly angry right now, and I want to do wickedness, and I don't care about the law right now. Whoa, this is the spirit I'm dealing with. This is not me. This is not the Spirit of Yahweh. Let me pump my brakes. Let me just apologize immediately. Yo, I shouldn't have handled that way. My bad. Give me a second. Let me meditate. Let me back up. Let me just stop. My bad. Recognize when you're dealing with a spirit. But what'll happen is we get in those moods and those tempers, and we like, I don't give a F. That's what we like to say. I don't give a F about it. And we get in that, and we just say, you know what? I like the way this spirit feels. It's making me feel good dealing with this person. So we're in Yasharal, chapter 5. And we're going to deal with, these spirits in who we look to. Why would you look to
chapter 8?
Isaiah chapter 8. You're correct. Isaiah chapter 8. Go ahead, brother.
Moreover, Yahweh said unto me, Take you a great roll, and write in it with a man's pen concerning Maher Shalahalabah. And I took unto me faithful witness to record Uriah the priest, and Zechariah the son of Yasharal. And I went unto the prophetess, and she conceived and bare a son. Then said Yahweh to me, Call his name Maher Shalal Hashbaz. For before the child shall have knowledge to cry, my father and my mother, the riches of Damascus and the spoil of Samaria shall be taken away before the king of Assyria. Yahweh spoke also unto me, saying, Forasmuch as this people refuse the waters of Shiloh, that go softly and rejoice in Rezin and Remaliah's son, now therefore, behold, Yahweh brings up upon them the waters of the river, strong and many, even the king of Assyria in all his glory. And he shall come up over all his channels, and go over all his banks. And he shall pass through Yehudah. He shall overflow and go over. He shall reach even to the neck, and the stretching out of his wings shall fill the breadth of your land, O Emmanuel. Associate yourselves, O you people, and you shall be broken in pieces. Give ear, all you of far countries. Gird yourselves, and you shall be broken in pieces. Gird yourselves, and you shall be broken in pieces. Take counsel together, and it shall come to nothing. Speak the word, and it shall not stand, for all is with us. For Yahweh spoke this to me with a strong hand, and instructed me that I should not walk in the way of this people, saying, Say you not a confederacy to all them to whom this people shall say a confederacy? Neither fear you their fear, nor be afraid. Sanctify Yahweh of hosts himself, and let him be your fear, and let him be your dread.
Let Yahweh be who you run to. Don't think you're gonna run to the police to save you here. Don't think you're gonna run to the government. Don't think you're gonna run to the modern Sodom and Egypt. Don't feel like you're gonna run to these people. Let Yah be your fear. Let him be your drought. Go to him with your problems. Go to him with his spirits. Deal with his spirit. Deal with his 7 spirits of Yahweh that he gave unto Yahshua. dealing this word. Because if you go against this word, because it looks and it appears that it's safer with another nation or safer with another earthly situation, it's going to come to nothing. Even though that you think that you're a servant and you're going to try to speak Yah's words, but y'all know the difference between a servant that's trying to depend on him and a servant that wants to depend on worldly things and utilize Yah's words. Go ahead.
For he shall be for a sanctuary, and he shall be for a sanctuary, but for a stone of stumbling and for a rock of offense to both the houses of Yasharal, for a gin and for a snare to the inhabitants of Jerusalem.
All right, so he can be the all of those at once. He shall be for a sanctuary. For you, but for other people, he going to be a stone of stumbling and a rock of offense to both houses of Yasharal. A gin, a snare for the inhabitants of Jerusalem. Because they're taking this law and they're not using the law lawfully. So this same law that was there to stop you from killing yourself is now causing a problem for you, causing you to trip. And we see the same thing with these brothers that don't believe in the Mashiach. They're using these laws partially, and it's now become a stumbling block because they use all the laws and they pull everything to not believe in the word in flesh. But then all those other laws that are in there that's supposed to help them when they make mistakes, they're not doing those things. They're not doing the animal sacrifices. They're not keeping the holy days. They're not doing the things that they're supposed to be doing. So the same law is becoming a rock of offense to them. Go ahead.
Verse 15. And many among them shall stumble and fall and be broken and be snared and be taken. Bind up the testimony, seal the law among my disciples. And I will wait upon Yahweh that hides his face from the house of Yaakov, and I will look for him. Behold, I and the children whom Yahweh has given me are for signs and for wonders in Yasharal, for Yahweh of hosts, which dwells in Mount Zion.
And that's where we are. We are signs and wonders. In a good way and a bad way. One way or another, we're signing wonders because we're a sign and wonder when you see that wicked person clean himself up. And the only thing that cleaned him up was the word. All he did was start following the word. Then amazingly, he's a great person. And he's getting blessed and great things are happening to him. Maybe not blessed in the way that the world wants to see him be blessed, but he's being blessed in a way that people that truly know him can recognize this. Then you have the other individual, you turn on the news, you're like, whoa, are you kidding me? You mean you got a traffic ticket for failure to make a improper lane change or something like that? And you mean you got murdered for that? These are signs and wonders. Dead 18-year-old kid getting ready to go to college, laying dead in the street. They left the body out there for 4+ hours. Sign and wonders. Which one do you want to be? Go ahead.
Verse 19. And when they shall say unto you, seek unto them that have familiar spirits, and unto wizards that peep and that mutter, should not a people seek unto their Elohim, for the living to the dead, to the law and to the testimony? If they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them.
There's no light in them. And so you're going to seek dead spirits. You're going to seek things that are going to get thrown in the lake of fire, along with the adversary of the devil. That's who you're going to seek for guidance on how to live more bountifully. That doesn't make any sense. But that makes sense to people that are judging based upon their eyes and not trying and judging based upon the spirit. That's why you have to speak to people according to this law and this testimony to see if there's any light in them. Because if there's no light in them, this stuff is not going to resonate. It's not going to make a difference. Still got to speak it. Go ahead.
And they shall pass through it, hardly bestead and hungry. And it shall come to pass that when they shall be hungry, they shall fret themselves and curse their king and their Elohim, and look upward. And they shall look unto the earth, and behold trouble and darkness, dimness of anguish, and they shall be driven to darkness.
And that's when they tell you, and you cast this servant to outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of the teeth. That means you ain't dealing with the spirit. There's no spirit around. You dealing in outer darkness, pure outer darkness. All right, so let's go to 1 Kings, 1 Melachim, chapter 22, and we're going to start just at verse 5. You got to know who's on your team. That's like you run up to a player in the other team and you trying to ask them, a question about the game, whether it's legal for you to do this. So it's like, he's not trying to tell you whether you can call a timeout. Hey, can I call a timeout? Did we use all our time? He not, yeah, you used them all. You ain't got no more. He's not going to talk to you. So these people, these other spirits that are out here are literally here to turn you off, to turn you away from the narrow path. Because if you walk down the narrow path, then you're fulfilling Yahweh's prophecy. And if you fulfill Yahweh's prophecy, that means their part of the prophecy is going to be fulfilled. So they're saying, if we can make him alive, then how are you going to throw us in the lake of fire? Because he lied too. He unperfect. He got the same spirit we got now. He a lying spirit. So guess what? He can't throw me in the lake of fire because he's not supreme. He's not perfect. He's not the highest. I'm higher than him because I made the higher spirit come down to my level. So you got to know who you can trust. And the only way you know you can trust is trying the spirit by the spirit, dealing according to this law and this testimony. And it seems a bit counterintuitive because we man lied to us. They lied so much to us and told us all these lies. And we say, you know what? How can I go read this book and believe this book? Because man lied. Well, if you read this book spiritually and put your spirit into it, it will be revealed unto you. It's promised unto you. But if you be lazy and you just want to read and you just want to accept what feels good to your flesh, then Yahweh's going to give you that. However you present yourself, he's going to present himself to you. You present yourself forward, he's going to present himself forward. You present yourself in humility and righteousness, he'll exalt you, he'll give you his spirit, and he'll show you how to discern. And if you don't know how to discern, he'll send you another servant that will come and help you and teach you how to discern. 1 Kings 22, and we're going to start this at verse 5, and we're going to go through 29.
And Jehoshaphat said unto the king of Yasharal, Inquire, I pray you, at the word of Yahweh today. Then the king of Yasharal gathered the prophets together, about 400 men, and said unto them, Shall I go against Ramoth Gilead to battle, or shall I forbear? And they said, Go up, for Yahweh shall deliver it into the hand of the king. And Jehoshaphat said, Is there not here a prophet of Yahweh besides that we might inquire of him? And the king of Yasharal said unto Jehoshaphat, There is yet one man, Micaiah, the son of Imlah, by whom we may inquire of Yahweh. But I hate him, for he does not prophesy good concerning me, but evil. And Jehoshaphat said, Let not the king say so. Then the king of Yasharal called an officer and said, Hasten hither Micaiah, the son of Imlah. And the king of Yasharal and Jehoshaphat, king of Yehudah, sat each on his throne, having put on their robes, in a void place in the entrance of the gate of the city of Samaria, and all the prophets prophesied before them. And Zedekiah, the son of Chenanah, made him horns of iron, and said, Thus says Yahweh, with these shall you push the Syrians, until you have consumed them. And all the prophets prophesied, saying, Go up to Ramoth Gilead, and prosper, for Yahweh shall deliver it into the king's hand. And the messenger that was gone to call Micaiah spoke unto him, saying, Behold now, the words of the prophets declare good unto the king with one mouth. Let your word, I pray you, be like the word of one of them that speak that which is good. And Micaiah said, As Yahweh lives, what Yahweh says unto me, that will I speak. So we came to the king, and the king said unto him, Micaiah, shall we go against Ramoth Gilead to battle, or shall we forbear? And he answered him, Go and prosper, for Yahweh shall deliver it into the hand of the king. And the king said unto him, How many times shall I adjure you that you tell me nothing but that which is true in the name of Yahweh? And he said, I saw all Yasharal scattered upon the hills, as sheep that have not a shepherd. And Yahweh said, These have no master, let them return every man to his house in peace. And the king of Yasharal said unto Jehoshaphat, Did I not tell you that he would not prophesy no good concerning me, but evil? And he said, Hear you before the word of Yahweh. I saw Yahweh sitting on his throne, and all the hosts of heaven standing by him on his right hand and on his left.
So he said, Didn't I tell you that all this man tell me is bad news? Now he's a prophet. They know he's a prophet of Yahweh. They know what he says is going to happen. They would rather not hear what is going to happen to them and just deal with it when it comes rather than being told the truth and righteousness so they can repent and avoid the stuff from happening. That's a spirit. That's a blindness. That's as fleshly as you can get. And this is the same spirit we deal with when we go out in the world and we try to talk to people. We tell them, look, this is what's going to happen. This already happened. Didn't I tell you last time? Oh, well, that wasn't why that happened. This is the same thing they telling the prophet. The prophet, like, you go out there, 100,000 of y'all men finna die. 100,000 men die. Well, you know, I didn't give them enough portion of meal. That's what it was. Double the portion of meal. We're going to send the next round out there. That's a blindness. Go ahead.
Verse 20. And Yahweh said, who shall persuade Ahab that he might go up and fall at Ramoth Gilead? And one said, on this manner, and another said, on that manner. And there came forth a spirit and stood before Yahweh and said, I will persuade him. And Yahweh said unto him, wherewith? And he said, I will go forth, and I will be a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets. And he said, you shall persuade him, and prevail also. Go forth, and do so. Now therefore, behold, Yahweh hath put a lying spirit in the mouth of all these your prophets, and Yahweh hath spoken evil concerning you. But Zedekiah the son of Chenaanah went near and smote Micaiah on the cheek, and said, which way went the spirit of Yahweh from me to speak unto you? And Micaiah said, behold, you shall see the day when you shall go into an inner chamber to hide yourself. And the king of Yasharal said, take Micaiah and carry him back to Amon, the governor of the city, and to Joash, the king's son, and say, thus says the king, put this fellow in prison and feed him with bread of affliction and with water of affliction until I come in peace. And Micaiah said, if you return at all in peace, Yahweh has not spoken by me. And he said, hearken, O people, every one of you. So the king of Yasharal and Jehoshaphat, the king of Yehuda, went up to Ramoth Gilead.
All right, that's where we were stopping. All right, so this lying spirit. Now, y'all could have just said, look, hey, no. I don't want no lying spirit. No, he had a job for him. I needed to get the job done. Because he could have been another spirit that came, hey, I'll be a whirlwind and I'll just destroy all this stuff. You know, it could have been anything. But he said, no. Let this word be a rock of offense to them. Because Yahweh came and spoke to them and they didn't want to hear it. They smote my servant in his cheek. And they put him in prison for just telling them righteousness. You call the man over there and ask the man something. Hey, like he came looking you down. Hey, I got something to tell you. You call the man. So he had his job to do. But he took the affliction that came his way for doing righteousness. He took it for righteousness' sake. But at the end of the day, Yahweh will allow that lying spirit to use you or somebody else. It's up to you to try that spirit by that spirit and say, wait a minute, Yahweh told me, nah, I ain't supposed to be doing that. And this brother is telling me, yeah, you can do that. And he's not showing me where I'm wrong. He's just telling me, believe him. That's a lying spirit. Let's go to Romans chapter 8. All of this that we go through is practice. This whole grace period is practice, getting you prepared to live forever. So, and you're going to be around plenty of spirits. Spiritual, it's going to be a spiritual place. You need to learn how to deal with the spirit and try the spirit by the spirit and get used to using that spirit. So that at the time, before you can get to that great place, when you got to go through the great tribulation, when you got to go through that great distressful time when the angels are casted out, the third of angels are cast out, there's demons everywhere, and you're doing miracles before your eyes or your kids' eyes, whoever the case is in that generation, that you are trained properly. You know, wait a minute, don't believe what you see. Don't believe what you see. Because we have technology now that can put Tupac on the stage and have him do a concert. So if you're going to believe what you see, you're going to be fooled. If you're going to believe this, guy that comes in this three-piece suit and there's a million people sitting around, wow, this is Christ. And they're all like, yeah, this is Christ. If that's going to convince you, you are going to be fooled.
Okay, brother.
The sons of Elohim, they're not led that way. They're led by the spirit of truth, and they will hold on to that spirit of truth. Go ahead, brother.
Just remarking on what you said about how you say the devices that man has invented, the wicked devices that man has invented, and how they're going to use them. I mean, just to kind of what happened 9/11. You know, those two buildings supposed to be knocked down by planes, but yet the size of those planes that hit those buildings, right, should have parts somewhere scattered. They're not going to just how you say dissolve in midair. But nobody found no parts whatsoever. So what hit them? And then they canceled out what later on what the fireman was saying, who went and checked those buildings out, that they saw a way this building could be blown down, how you say, professionally. Yeah, you know, but people, how many people refuse to believe that? People today don't even believe that. You know what I mean? So people want to believe what they want to believe. You know what I mean? So as they say, we can only give the word and tell them the total truth the way Yahweh allows us to speak it. But yet in the end, if they want to be wicked, let them be wicked still. If they don't want to believe, let them don't believe still. You know what I mean? What can you do?
People believe what they want to believe. You can give people science, they still won't believe it. Jet fuel burns at, don't quote me on the numbers, but jet fuel burns at like 900, degrees Fahrenheit or Celsius, whatever. Steel burns at like 4,000 degrees Celsius. So you're telling me this jet fuel you have to burn steel at a very high temperature to bend it and flex it and do what you need to do just to create it. So you're telling me this jet fuel that burns, that you can Google and you can look all this stuff up with technology and see what temperature it burns at. But it got that hot. But it burns at this temperature to melt steel. And even when you melt steel, it wouldn't perfectly implode that way. There's no way. Now you look at controlled demolition, you see how it implodes that way. You looked at the just a couple days ago in Dubai, it was New Year's or something like that. The little New Year's that they had. Dubai skyscraper was on fire for like 3 days. Something ridiculous like that. It didn't melt, fall down there like that. So people believe what they want to believe. They want to believe the things that are appealing unto their eyes. They want to believe what everybody else believes so they can feel safe inside instead of analyzing the true danger that is out there. Romans chapter 8, and we're going to start this at verse 1.
There is therefore now no condemnation to them which are in Messiah, Yahshua, who walk not after the flesh, but after the Spirit. For the law of the Spirit of life and Messiah Yahshua has made me free from the law of sin and death.
The law of sin and death. It didn't make you free of the law. And this is where, people will cherry pick the crap out of this. And they will find different ways. And well, actually, they'll leave this one out because they don't like the law of sin and death. But they'll say, made me free from the law. They're talking about the law of sin and death. That just means when you sin, an animal doesn't have to die or you don't die. You're free from that because you're in a grace period. You're going to make that payment later. When you're in a grace period and your credit card bill is due and you got a 5-day grace period, that don't mean after 5 days you ain't got to pay the bill. That just means you ain't getting a penalty during that grace period. But when that grace period is up, you got to pay the bill. And that bill you can't afford to pay. Only Yahshua can pay that bill for you. Go ahead.
For what the law could not do in that it was weak through the flesh, Yahweh sending his own Son in the likeness of sinful flesh, and for sin condemned sin in the flesh, that the righteousness of the law might be fulfilled in us, who walk not after the flesh, but after the Spirit. For they that are after the flesh do mind the things of the flesh, but they that are after the Spirit, the things after the Spirit. For to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. Because the carnal mind is enmity against Elohim, for it is not subject to the law of Elohim, neither indeed can be. All right, so it's a different spirit. It's dealing with a spirit of error. It's dealing with a spirit of lie. So when you try somebody with this law and testimony, and you speak to them about the good news of Yahshua, and they can't accept it, it's because they're carnal. And you can even look at these brothers that they call themselves non-Messianic or, non-believers. You deal with them brothers, you can see clearly they're as carnal as ever. They have no spiritual understanding, because if they did, they would see the Mashiach in the beginning of the book. So you thought that you were just going to
be able to just do what you want to do, and he gonna forgive you because you're not as wicked as you used to be? Go ahead, brother.
Verse 8. So then they that are in the flesh cannot please Elohim. For you are not in the flesh, but in the spirit. If so be that the spirit of Elohim dwells in you. Now if any man have not the spirit of Messiah, he is none of his. And if Messiah be in you, the body is dead because of sin, but the spirit is life because of righteousness. But if the spirit of him that raised up Yahshua from the dead dwell in you, he that raised up Messiah from the dead shall also quicken your mortal bodies by his spirit that dwells in you. Therefore, brethren, we are debtors, not to the flesh, to live after the flesh. For if you live after the flesh, you shall die. But if you, through the Spirit, do mortify the deeds of the body, you shall live. For as many as are led by the Spirit of Elohim, they are the sons of Elohim.
So this is what makes you a son of Yahweh. When you are led by his spirit. That means he gave you the spirit of righteousness, and you allowed that spirit of righteousness to direct you, to be your pilot, not your co-pilot. Well, you know, I'll think about it. If it works out for me, I'll follow what the co-pilot said. No, to be your pilot, to fly you, to keep you on that narrow path. You should be on autopilot. The law says go this way. The plane gonna fly the way that the pilot designed it to fly. So now you look up here where it talks about in verse 11, it says, but if the spirit of him that raised up Yahshua from the dead dwell in you, he that raised up Yahshua from the dead shall also quicken, which means to give life to your mortal body by the spirit that dwells in you. So if you are receiving of this spirit of Yasharal, this spirit of Yahshua, that means before that you had a dead spirit in you. The same dead spirit that he says, why are you going after these dead spirits? Why are you going after that? Why not come to the Father of life? Why not go to a living Elohim? Why are you going to these dead idols or these witches and wizards and all these people conjuring up all these evil spirits that are dead spirits? Why are you going to them? Go ahead.
Verse 14. For as many as are led by the spirit of Elohim, they are the sons of Elohim. For you have not received the spirit of bondage again to fear, but you have received the spirit of adoption, whereby we cry, Abba, Father. The Spirit itself bears witness with our spirit that we are the children of Elohim, and if children, then heirs, heirs of Yahweh, and joint heirs with Mashiach. If so be that we suffer with him, that we may be also glorified together. For I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us. For the earnest expectation of the creature waits for the manifestation of the sons of Elohim. For the creature was made subject to vanity, not willingly, but by reason of him who has subjected the same in hope. Because the creature itself also shall be delivered from the bondage of corruption into the glorious liberty of the children of Elohim. For we know that the whole creation groans and travails together, in pain together, until now. And not only they, but ourselves also, which have the first fruits of the Spirit. Even we ourselves groan within ourselves, waiting for the adoption, to wit, the redemption of our body. For we are saved by hope. But hope that is seen is not hope. For what a man sees, why does he yet hope for? But if we hope for that we see not, then do we with patience wait for it.
And that's the text. The carnal man can only have faith or hope in what he can see. Period. That's all he can go by. He can't see righteousness. We can see righteousness because when we study this word and we receive this spirit, we can see, and like you say, your Yahweh shade. You can see completely different. You cannot see certain things and you can see things because your vision is different. The world opened up. I can remember when I first came into the world. Into the word. And my eyes was open and I walked around that first day and looked around. Things looked different. The world looked different. People looked different. I could see spirits, literally. I could see things and be like, wait a minute. That's wickedness. That's righteousness. Whoa, this is a whole different world. But the carnal person, he's blind. He can't see the spiritual things that are going around him. Now, some people's spiritual vision is better than that. They have gifts. They can actually see the evil spirit himself. That's somebody's gift. But us, we have enough that we can see actions, and we can see how somebody entreats people, and we can see a spirit without actually seeing it, using the pituitary gland. You getting a kind of a third eye view into things. But you have to allow that to lead you. The carnal man has some of that ability because he's telling himself, I don't want to do that because the flesh is telling me to do that. He is not a son of Elohim because he's not led by Elohim. He won't allow that to lead him. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead, brother.
Also, to add to that, if you're led by Elohim, then you have faith. Because you can't have faith, as scriptures say, faith is evidence not seen. Things hoped for, evidence not seen. So you're hoping for things, even though you don't see them, you're believing in them and having faith in Yahweh, if it be his holy will, that he'll give it to you. He will let it manifest. And if you his son, then these are the things that you cultivate. But if you're not his son, then people got to see it happen, or they got to create it happen, or make sure that it happens. You know what I mean? So it's a good point.
Right. And we can see it without seeing it, and we have hope in it without actually seeing it, because we're seeing other things that it takes the Spirit to see. And that's where that first fruits of the Spirit comes in. We can see those first fruits of the Spirit. We can see those things in action, even when somebody can't see it in themselves. We can see those things, and we can make our decisions based on that. And where it gets fuzzy, where our eyesight isn't that good, guess what? Let me go get my glasses. Oh, yeah, there it is. I got it.
But I don't know if I was right or wrong in this, but I remember a long time ago, a young lady was, kind of very sure. She was like, I'm saved. I'm already saved. And, and I was like, out of innocence, I wasn't trying to shoot her down or anything like that, but out of innocence, I was like, you're not saved yet. I was like, what? And I used this exact scripture where it was like, and I remember this was my first biblical debate with anyone. Right. So I wrote it down. I was like, no, I gotta make sure I can remember this. So it was how Romans was like, for we do not yet, what faith is seen. Right. And in verse 24 says, for we are saved by the hope, but hope that is seen is not hope. But what a man sees, why does he yet hope for? But if you saved already, how do you have faith? Because the faith is rooted in the hope. But you say you already got it, so there's no need for faith. So obviously you have faith. So you're waiting to be saved. And every time, Saul or Paul or Peter mentions the saints, he mentions the saints or added to the number of those being saved. Right. As it was it's a process, something that is happening. It's not already done yet. But I didn't know that she would take such offense. I didn't really realize how much of an offense that can be for someone whose whole faith is rooted in the fact that they feel that they're already saved. Now looking back, I can see why that's reassuring. Right. But it's not necessarily all fully accurate.
Now, that's a tricky one because there's so many different ways you can deal with that, because you can't truly be saved until you pass that, the second death don't apply to you. Then you're truly saved, because death and hell is thrown in the lake of fire.
Correct.
But at the same time, the chosen have already been chosen.
Yeah.
But
they got to work it out.
But you're going to have to do certain things, and the angel's going to do his job and going to make sure you do what you got to do. So it's tricky. You ain't going to know that. Mm-hmm. We can't know that, scarcely, because we would have to know man's heart, and we don't even know our own hearts. Mm-hmm. No, the only person that knows man's heart is Yahweh and Yahshua. That's why they can judge righteously, because they truly know. I gave him, this is all the best he could do. I don't know that. They could do all the good deeds in the world, but if Yah's like, no, they should have done twice as much as that. I gave him 5 talents. He should have came back with 10. But he, the dude that thought he had 2 and came back with 4, the guy with 1 talent is like, man, that guy, he's flipping his talents. He's in there. Mm-hmm. And the one that got, came back with 4 talents, started with 2, he's saying, surely I'm in there, because that dude, he had 1 and he buried his. So surely I made it. But you could have had 5 talents, but you didn't want to deal with that one, because that other talent speaking the truth in public tends to get you dealt with, afflicted. So you want to deal with that one. So you made great websites. You did great stuff. You did everything behind the scenes. You helped people, but you didn't want to put it out there when your neck was on the line, when you're at your job, when you're out in the street, when you're out in front of the elders, when you're out in front of other knowledgeable people that can correct you. You don't want to say that. You quiet it.
Because, brother.
Yes, sir.
How you think they were acting? If you read scripture and it tells them about, they can, your name's supposed to be in the book, but he can also wipe your name out.
Blot it out.
So I guess you ain't saved, you know what I mean? So
that's the doctrine of the Nicolaitans.
Yeah.
That's what the Nicolaitans believe. They believe that you can't lose your salvation. That's it.
Yeah. They think it's one saved, always saved. And so who's right? Yahweh saying, I can erase your name out this book. So if you can erase your name, I guess you better do all you can to keep your name in the book, to believe your name could be in the book.
Right.
There's a gospel rap singer, like a holy hip hop type dude. His name was I'm gonna name drop today. His name was Yasharal or Jazziel or something like that. And I think he made songs with Lecrae and all of that. And then all of a sudden, this dude is on Facebook and whatever social media medium, promoting Egyptology and just denouncing, because he was a Christian at first, so he's completely denouncing Christianity. And he made a song called Amen Ra. Amen Ra. When I call him, I'm like, dang, bro, look at what height you've fallen. At least you was at some level of gaining understanding. And now you just did a complete 180 and you just throwing out Egyptology, which is a polytheistic religion. I don't know who bewitched you. You feel me?
I mean, Jesus bewitched him. When people find out about this Christianity, boy, the fall is a hard fall. But can you get up from that fall? Because Christianity is one of the most major brain screws because there's truth in it. But a half truth is still a lie. It's still a lie. Go ahead and finish that, bro.
Verse 25. But if we hope for that which we see not, then do we with patience wait for it. Likewise, the Spirit also helps our infirmities, for we know not what we should pray for as we ought, but the Spirit itself makes intercession for us with groanings which cannot be uttered.
All right, so we know not what we should pray as we ought. The Spirit has to make intercession for us. Then it should be hard for you to pray for your brothers and sisters then, because he gonna cover me. He gonna get all the things that I need to get. So let me go ahead and pray for things that people have told me about. Things that I know are going on in people's lives that I care about. I don't want to pray away their affliction. I want to pray that they're able to come to the truth. I want to pray that they're able to be beneficial and grow and produce fruits according to Yahweh's will. That way you don't got to sit there and pray for 2 hours trying to make sure you get every little prayer about yourself to cover everything you need to do. Because the Spirit got that covered. He wants to see, are you going to cover your sin through love? By trying to help somebody else to cover your sin. Go ahead.
Verse 27. And he that searches the hearts knows what is the mind of the Spirit, because he makes intercession for the saints according to the will of Elohim. And we know that all things work together for the good of them that love Elohim, to make to them who are called according to his purpose. For whom he did foreknow, he also did predestinate to be conformed to the image of his Son, that he might be the firstborn among many brethren. Moreover, whom he did predestinate, them he also called, and whom he called, them he also justified, and whom he justified, then he also glorified. What shall we then say to these things? If Elohim be for us, who can be against us? He that spared not his own Son, but delivered him up for us all, how shall he not with him also freely give us all things? Who shall lay anything to the charge of Yahweh's elect? It is Elohim that justifies. Who is he that condemns? It is Mashiach that died, yea, rather that is risen again, who is even at the right hand of Elohim, who makes intercession for us. Who shall separate us from the love of Mashiach? Shall tribulation or distress or persecution or famine or nakedness or peril or sword? As it is written, for your sake we are killed all the day long. We are counted as sheep for the slaughter. Nay, in all these things we are more than conquerors through him that loved us. For I am persuaded that neither death nor life, nor angels, nor principalities, nor powers, nor things present, nor things to come, nor height, nor depth, nor anything, nor any other creature shall be able to separate us from the love of Elohim, which is in Mashiach, Yahshua, our Master.
All right. No height, nor depth, nor any other creation shall be able to separate us from the love of Elohim, which is in Mashiach, Yahshua, our Adonai. Because at the end of the day, the Creator created all these things. So how is He going to separate? How is His creation going to separate you when the Creator created it? It wasn't created to separate you. It was created to do its part in serving Yahweh. So how are you going to let the thing that's serving Yahweh, whether it's serving Him in goodness, in light, or serving Him in darkness, in dark, how are you going to let that separate you from where you're supposed to be? You're not. That means you were destined for darkness. Let's go to Numbers chapter 22. Bamidbar chapter 22. And we're going to see a situation here with a servant that Yah decided to even put his spirit on a donkey. If he can put his spirit on a donkey, then he can put his spirit on a Gentile. He can put his spirit on a little child. He can put his spirit on a wicked person that's going to repent. So we're in Numbers chapter 22, and we're going to start this at verse 1.
And the children of Yasharal set forward and pitched in the plains of Moab on this side of Jordan by Jericho. And Balak, the son of Zippor, saw all Yasharal had done to the Amorites. And Moab was so afraid of the people, because they were many. And Moab was distressed because of the children of Yasharal. And Moab said unto the elders of Midian, now shall this company lick up all that are around about us, as the ox licks up the grass of the field? And Balak, the son of Zippor, was king of the Moabites. He sent messengers, therefore, unto Balaam, the son of Beor, to Pethor, which is by the river of the land of the children of his people, to call him, saying, behold, there is a people come out from Mitzrayim. Behold, they cover the face of the earth, and they abide over against me. Come now, therefore, I pray you, curse me this people, for they are too mighty for me. For adventure I shall prevail, that we may smite them, and that I may drive them out of the land. For I wot that he whom you bless is blessed, and he whom you curse is cursed.
I know that he whom blessed is blessed, and he whom cursed is cursed.
And the elders of Moab and the elders of Midian departed with the rewards of divination in their hand, and they came unto Balaam, and spoke unto him the word of Balak. And he said unto them, lodge here this night, and I will bring you word again, as Yahweh shall speak unto me. And the princes of Moab abode with Balaam. And Elohim came unto Balaam and said, what men are these with you? And Balaam said unto Elohim, Balak, the son of Zippor, king of Moab, hath sent unto me, saying, behold, there is a people come out of Mitzrayim, which cover the face of the earth. Come now, curse me them. Peradventure, I shall be able to overcome them and drive them out.
So it's cursed to those who cursed Israel. And you're a leader trying to curse the children of Yasharal. So if you have a leader of a nation cursing the children of Yasharal, what you think gonna happen to the people of that place? Go ahead.
Verse 12. So it's verse 12. And Elohim said unto Balaam, you shall not go with them. You shall not curse the people, for they are blessed. And Balaam rose up in the morning and said unto the princes of Balak, get you into your land, for Yahweh refused to give me leave to go with you. And the princes of Moab rose up, and they went unto Balak, and said, Balaam refused to come with us. And Balak sent yet again princes more and more honorable than they. And they came unto Balaam and said unto him, Thus says Balak the son of Zippor, Let nothing, I pray you, hinder you from coming unto me, for I will promote you very high. For I will promote you unto very great honor, and I will do whatsoever you say unto me. Come therefore, I pray you, curse me this people. And Balaam answered and said unto the servants of Balak, If Balak would give me his house full of silver and gold, I cannot go beyond the word of Yahweh my Elohim to do less or more. Now therefore I pray you, tarry you here this night, that I may know what Yahweh will say unto me more. And Elohim came unto Balaam at night, and said unto him, If the men come to call you, rise up and go with them. But yet the word which I shall say unto you shall you do. And Balaam rose up in the morning, and saddled his donkey, and went with the princes of Moab. And Elohim's anger was kindled because he went, and the angel of Yahweh stood in the way for an adversary against him. Now he was riding upon his donkey, and his two servants were with him.
So why is Yahweh upset with Balaam at this point? Why is he so angry and kindled against Balaam for going with these people? He just told them in verse 20, he gave them instructions. But what did he do? In verse 20, he said, And Elohim came unto Balaam at night and said unto him, If the men come to call you, rise up and go with them. And Balaam just rose up and left. He didn't say that the men called him, hey, let's go there. He just rose up and left. He was presumptuous to do what he wanted to do. And Yahweh was angry with him. This is where problems happen. There's a blindness going on here. There's a blindness. Now, he just finished saying, all the riches and all the stuff you give me, I can't go left or right. And he started with that. But obviously, the riches or something within him was causing a little blindness here. Because now he's just doing presumptuous things, and it's just leading, and it's going to lead, and it's going to get worse and worse and worse. And this is where we find ourselves in problems. The same thing happened to Dawid. When you are not where you're supposed to be, doing what you're supposed to do, Satan's waiting for you. We just read the adversary is waiting to devour. He's waiting. He can't wait for you to step out your hedge, and your hedge is as far as your instructions from Yahweh is. That's your hedge. You go the opposite direction from those instructions, you out of your hedge, adversary waiting on you.
Hey, brother.
Yes, sir?
That's a very good point, and if people don't, further understand, basically, he disobeyed y'all because y'all didn't tell him to leave. I mean, he should have listened to what y'all said. He said, if the men come. That means you ought to stay there and find out if the men come or not, and then go. But it's like he disobeyed a preparatory command before the command,
Right.
He should have stayed where he was. He just decided, I'm going to leave, so I'm not going to be involved in this one way or the other. So you just obey Yahweh on what Yahweh wants to happen.
Right. Right. He got on his ass and went to the men. He said, if he come to you. Because who knows what Yah's will was going on, where it might have took a certain amount of time for them to come, or they were going to have to go through a lot of different things. And we don't know what Yah's will, but that's not your job. You're a servant. Your job is to serve. You don't get to decide or get all the information. Military people understand that. Some stuff is beyond your pay grade. You can't. That's not for you to know. It's for you to follow instructions. So he started out good, and he's made some valiant efforts. But where did he says, I can't go against y'all's word, even if you give me all this gold and all these good things. But then why he's such in a rush to go jump on this saddle and on this horse and go this donkey and go meet these people? Obviously, something was causing some blindness here. Go ahead.
Verse 23. And the donkey saw the angel of Yahweh standing in the way, and his sword drawn in his hand. And the donkey turned aside out of the way and went into the field. And Balaam smote the donkey to turn her into the way. But the angel of Yahweh stood in a path of the vineyard, a wall being on this side, and a wall on that side. And when the donkey saw the angel of Yahweh, she thrust herself into the wall, and crushed Balaam's foot against the wall. And he smote her again. And the angel of Yahweh went further and stood in a narrow place where there was no way to turn, either to the right hand or to the left. And when the donkey saw the angel of Yahweh, she fell down under Balaam. And Balaam's anger was kindled, and he smote the donkey with a staff. And Yahweh opened the mouth of the donkey, and she said unto Balaam, What have I done unto you, that you have smitten me these 3 times? And Balaam said unto the donkey, Because you have mocked me, I would there were a sword in my hand, for I would kill you. And the donkey said unto Balaam, Am not I your donkey upon which you have ridden ever since I was yours unto this day? Was I ever wont to do so unto you? And he said, Nay. Then Yahweh opened the eyes of Balaam, and he saw the angel of Yahweh standing in the way, and his sword drawn, and in his hand, and he bowed his head and fell flat on his face.
Okay, so where's the faith there? He had to see the angel. And despite all this, first of all, if my dog or my car or somebody starts talking to me, an animal that can't talk, I'm going to say, wait a minute, I'm dealing with a spirit right now. Because animals don't talk. But he's so blinded right now by ambition or whatever goal was going on in his mind to accomplish what he wanted to accomplish. He don't even notice that, wait a minute, first of all, this is a good animal here. This animal has been with me, he's like a family member, does everything, never lets me down. Now all of a sudden she's tripping. Let me find out what's going on. Let me tend to the animal. Maybe the animal's hurt or something. Maybe she's hungry or whatever the case may be. But he's so fixated on the flesh to fulfill whatever spirit is already controlling him. He don't even recognize the damn donkey is talking to him. And the donkey is saving his life. I mean, like, this is like Shrek. The donkey is talking to him. He having a conversation with the donkey. Didn't stop for a second to say, wait a minute, I'm tripping. That's blindness. And that's a prophet. And this is something that's miraculous. And he didn't notice this. So who's your brother in the street when you talking to him trying to save his life, telling him righteousness, that he should believe you? Go ahead, brother.
Verse 32. And the angel of Yahweh said unto him, Why have you smitten your donkey these 3 times? Behold, I went out to withstand you, because your way is perverse before me. And the donkey saw me, and turned from me these 3 times. Unless she had turned from me, surely now also I had slain you, and saved her alive.
And did we get that warning? Behold, I send you an angel before you. Make sure you keep your steps correctly, because he will not pardon your iniquity. He will deal with you behind. Go ahead.
And Balaam said unto the angel of Yahweh, I have sinned, for I knew not that you stood in the way against me. Now therefore, if it displease you, I will get me back again. And the angel of Yahweh said unto Balaam, Go with the men, but only the word that I shall speak unto you, that you shall speak. So Balaam went with the princes of Balak. And when Balak heard that Balaam was come, he went out to meet him unto a city of Moab, which is in the border of Arnon, which is in the utmost coast.
All right, let's stop there. Let's move on to Numbers 24.
It's very interesting, brother, because the men came and he said, stay here. I'm gonna entreat Yahweh over this. Mm-hmm. And then that night, Yahweh came to him and was like, if they come looking for you, go with them. Mm-hmm. So they say he gets up to go with them, and there's an angel in the way. So I'm like, okay, you know what? Something in Balak's heart Yahweh was not pleased with, why Yahweh limited him. There's something in the way, and then it said your way was perverse before me. So either there was a sacrifice he didn't do, or some perverse way was in him. That's just a mental note I'm keeping, not as a doctrine, but something Yahweh did not like. Although he told you go in this way, is the same way that I want to sacrifice, and then Cain gave some leaps and stuff, and Abel gave a blood sacrifice. And he accepted Abel's and rejected Cain's. But Cain did what he told him to do. Right. But there was something about Cain that Yahweh did not like. And there was something about Balaam that Yahweh did not like. And he said, your way was perverse for me.
Right. And What Yahweh don't like is when you half follow instructions. That's what Yahweh don't like. Half follow some instructions, and He gonna deal with your behind. Same thing with Moshe. Hey, all y'all get circumcised, do everything, this, that. But I just didn't go circumcise my son because my wife tripped. That's half instructions. He's about to get killed over that. We're not going to go to Numbers 24. We were going to deal with the fact of Dawid numbering the people, but it was the adversary that pushed him to number the people. We're going to go to 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. Because you half following the directions is like if I tell you how to bake a cake and you do everything but break the eggs and put the whole eggs in there. You halfway follow instructions. You messed up the cake. You messed up the cake. So if Yahweh saying no, wait until they come to you, He might have wanted something to pass by first. He might have wanted them to experience something first, so they could get the point that you don't curse my people. You're gonna get death. He might have wanted them to get their behind, toe up the whole way down there, barely make it there alive after losing everybody, then to tell them, don't you ever curse my people. And that would have been a story up in here. But now you halfway following instructions for whatever reason was going on with you that made your ways perverse. And what makes your ways perverse is when you do the opposite of what the instruction is told to you. When you don't follow the law is whatever come out of Yahweh's mouth. That is the law. You didn't follow it. That's what made your ways perverse. And it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse. 2 Thessalonians.
Hey, brother.
Go ahead, brother.
Isn't that how Saul was told how he basically lost the kingdom? Because he did not do what Yahweh told him to do about, chopping egg, killing egg, and killing everything that has breath. He wanted to use it like he wanted and then lied at the same time. So didn't Saul tell him, well, you didn't do what Yahweh said you do, so you lost the kingdom. You go to somebody else.
Exactly, to somebody better than you.
That's right.
And at the end of the day, why did he do this? Because there was some kind of gain. I got all these sheep. I got all this, I got all this additional wealth. Then I got this king over here as my trophy. Like, look how big I am. I got kings as prisoners.
Brother.
Yahweh like, nah, destroy that. All this got to die. There's wickedness. This is a blood sacrifice going on here. Notice
brother,
when
that also
Saul,
along with
he gave Saul the shoulder.
That's right.
When Samuel had him come over, he gave him the shoulder. Shoulder go to the priest.
That's right.
You getting honored.
He getting honored.
The king also wears that girdle. He also wears that ephod. He wears ephod. He wraps his head holy. All these things. The high priest is the only one that does those things. He's getting a tremendous honor. But with that tremendous honor comes tremendous amount of duty that you have to do. Because people following you, you're the leader.
Yeah, but he also had that spirit where he got a swole head because he said he blamed it on the people, I said the best, because the people say, I want to make sacrifices, all that kind of stuff, and then later on you saw him with David, he was with David, he was jealous, King David. David, when they said Saul killed 1,000 and David killed 10,000, then he conspired he won't kill him now because he's not, his head is all swollen. He should have been very proud that he had a warrior that powerful that can fight for the kingdom.
Right. Go ahead, brother. It was good that you brought up, about the king and riches and stuff like that. Remember that they promised Balaam that, if he came and cursed them, he would give him the riches and the promotion. So when he heard Yahweh in the night talk about, go with them if they tell you to come, he was,
he's gone. He's ready to go.
So Yahweh probably saw that in his heart and sent the angel to block his way. Like, his heart is all screwed up with this. He's not gonna hear me when he gets there. So I'm gonna warn him because he was smiting and his foot getting pushed up against the wall and all kind of crap.
Right.
So and although it's not explicitly that way, but Yahweh is able to see what's in the heart.
Right. Now Yahweh gave instructions to that angel. That man is not to come over here until this time. Mm-hmm. Period. That angel is not, if he a good angel of Yah, He not coming back to Yahweh with this. No, he's gonna finish the job. I mean, you come here, I'm gonna slay you with this flaming sword. It's a done deal. He will not pardon your iniquity. But maybe Yahshua or somebody, or Yahweh sent his spirit to come down there. Probably was Yahshua. That's the one that seemed to be giving us some grace, standing in the way. They said, "Look, man, just speak to this man. Stop this man, because he's a good man. He about to get killed. He about to get killed. Because if he walk up to that angel right there, whatever that angel name is, he don't play. That dude from slavery." 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, and we're going to start this at verse 1.
Now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Master Yahshua Mashiach, and by our gathering together unto him, that you be not soon shaken in mind or troubled, neither by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter, as from us, as that day of Mashiach is at hand. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there be a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition.
So there has to be the harvest. Before the harvest comes, there has to be the ripening of the barley. The wheat and the tare. There has to be a ripening. So when they are still growing, they look exactly the same. The wheat and the tare looks exactly the same. But you have to let them grow together. That way, when the wheat grows up, because it's producing fruit, it's humbled and it leans over and it bends. The tare grows straight up because it has no fruit. There's nothing holding it down. It's proud. Look at me, look at me, look at me. That's when you do the harvest. So there has to be a falling away first. There has to be people that, we thought they was right here. We thought they was weak just like us. But then all of a sudden, they Amin Ra rap and all this other stuff, and they chasing the Sabbath day. They looking. You seen the Sabbath? I ain't seen. You seen it? Oh, there it is. They running around looking for it. They out there worshiping the moon, looking for the moon, and this, that, and the other, and doing all this foolishness, falling away. Or they just say, you know what? I'm good. I can't lose my salvation. I'm straight. So I can do what I want to do because you're wicked and I'm righteous. So I can treat you the way I want to treat you. There has to be that falling away. Go ahead.
And brother, a lot of moon observers out there, and it's not necessarily all their fault, because all the doctrine that was teaching them about Yah's word all had moon there. They didn't have access to Dead Sea Scroll exposés and Strong's concordances. They just, hey, it says new moon, hey, we're gonna do it like that. So from there you can know, like, the doctrine that you've been given has been polluted. Will you be humble enough to accept when someone can correct that and show you where it's wrong and have proof where it was changed and give you more scholarly, like, it's not of their own opinion that this is wrong. There's backup. If you're not humble enough, you just get stuck in that error. So you might as well have not even walked to obey righteousness in the first place, because you were not able to submit when Yahweh sent their servant. You're probably looking for some great miracle. Look, we turned this water into wine, and we healed this person. Now stop, get off the move.
Right. Well, because at the end of the day, they exalted themselves higher than the word. Because surely I can't be wrong. I can't be wrong because I believe I'm great. I believe that I'm good. I'm a good person. I'm good. I'm saved. So that brother can't be right because I believe this. So I got to be right. A humble brother is going to examine, and he's going to discern, and he's going to pray, and he's going to confirm, and he ain't going to be able to rest. Just like a man coming for his wife, he ain't going to be able to rest until he gets to that goal. There'll be things that me and you will talk about and discuss, and there'll be a difference of opinion. I can't rest until I can put a dot on something and say, nah, this is lawful or not lawful. That's if I can get to that point, I'm good. The conversation may be beyond that, but I can't rest until I can get to lawful or unlawful. And sometimes it may take weeks. It took a couple months before trying to figure out this calendar. I couldn't rest. I couldn't sleep. So, because I know I ain't nothing. I know I ain't worth nothing. I know I ain't worth the word that he gave me. I know this. So I'm able to be corrected. But the old me, nah, bro.
And test the spirit that's correcting.
Yeah, nah. I'm good. Look at it. He can't look when he pull up. He's 40 years old. He's still driving a Honda Accord, man. He don't get his behind up out of here, man.
He walk with a cane.
Look at this dude. This dude, he didn't even go to college, man. You know he don't know how many letters I got behind my name. I've been reading this book for years. Man, I went to Catholic. I was raised Catholic. I know this book. Pride, and you're gonna get exactly what you're looking for. Pride, and we're gonna read more of what you're gonna get. Continue reading.
Verse 3, verse 4, who opposes and exalts himself above all that is called Elohim, or that is worshipped, so that he, as Elohim, sits in the temple of Elohim, showing himself that he is Elohim. Remember you not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things? And now you know what withhold, that he might be revealed in his time. For the mystery of iniquity does already work. Only he who now lets will let until he be taken out of the way. And then shall the wicked be revealed, whom the master shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders, and with deceivableness of unrighteousness, in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved.
And this is the deceivableness. It's unrighteousness. He deceived you into believing that you was righteous, walking in unrighteousness. That is the most major brain screw. He gave you enough to believe that it's okay for you to be wicked, because you know you're wicked. You know that, but you don't want to believe that. You make your mind believe a lie. Go ahead.
And brother, this is the separating of the wheat and tares, and splitting the goats from the lamb. And Yahweh is sending a strong delusion to peel away those who refuse to believe the truth. Like, no longer y'all gonna be mixed up. Everyone could be getting along good. Your brother, he ain't really in the word, but you still make occasion for him. And then that strong deception comes, and your brother walk right off with it. You're like, dog, look how long we've been chopping it up. How are you gonna go through this deception?
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's just the sad reality of it, that at the end of the day, you two might be at the same place, sitting at the same seat, studying the same word, but you're there for two different reasons. Two different reasons. Go ahead.
Verse 12. That they all might be judged who believe not the truth, but have pleasure in unrighteousness. But we are bound to give thanks always to Elohim for you, brethren, beloved of the Master, because Elohim has from the beginning chosen you to salvation, to sanctification of the Spirit and belief of the truth. Whereunto he called you by our good news to the obtaining of the glory of our Master Yahshua Mashiach. Therefore, brethren, stand fast and hold the traditions which you have been taught, whether by word or by our epistle. Now, our Master Yahshua Messiah himself and Yahweh, even our Father, which has loved us and has given us everlasting consolation and good hope through grace, comfort your hearts and establish you in every good word and work.
All right, let's hear the conclusion. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 16.
That's the second time I saw about that predestination, or sanctification in advance, or that extent where Yahweh has chosen you for Yahshua before we knew.
Right.
Chose us. Right. Has from the beginning chose you unto salvation.
Because he knows the finished product. He already knows it's already been written. But the problem is, you don't know the finished product.
Correct.
Because you have to endure, but he already knows who's gonna make it. It's like, a horse race, and Yahweh's sitting there watching this horse race. He's like, I already know this. I already know who's gonna win. He don't know. When you get that horse that get in there, he believes he's gonna win, but until he wins, he don't know he's gonna win. And even then, until they crown him, because he might get disqualified. Anything happens.
So pretty much these scriptures are like Yahweh saying, have hope that you will win.
Yeah, have hope.
Endure to the end. Because endure to the end will be saved.
The winners know. The winners know. They know when they're there. Because that whole time they had faith in what they couldn't see.
Praise God.
But they didn't have, they weren't in a delusion where they knew 100%, and they were like, I don't have to do anything, or I can let up because I'm going to win. And you'll see that in races. The same brother, let up. Oh, I got it. Then you see that last minute he beat him. He's like, oh, you let up. You swore that you won. You had faith. You knew you were going to win, which is a good attitude, but you didn't endure. You let up at the end. That's why I said don't let up on them plowshares.
Mm-hmm. Faith as a mustard seed, but you don't want to get all haughtiness and faith.
But you still a mustard seed. You still that smallest, what they call the smallest seed in the parable.
You gotta endure.
You that mustard seed. You ain't that mustard tree yet that grew up there yet. You don't know if a bird will fly down and swoop you up with some affliction. Mm-hmm. Oh no, I can't deal with this. There's too much affliction in the word. Mm-hmm. Mishlei chapter 16. Proverbs chapter 16 and verse 1.
The preparation of the heart in man and the answer of the tongue is from Yahweh. All the ways of a man are clean in his own eyes, but Yahweh weighs the spirits. Commit your works unto Yahweh, and your thoughts shall be established. Yahweh has made all things for himself, yea, even the wicked for the day of evil.
And this is a real jewel right here. Verse 3, commit your works unto Yahweh, and your thoughts shall be established. Now, why that's a jewel? For one, you do everything you do it for Yah. That makes you do things at a certain level, but also changes the things you do. You about to go, we about to go lie to this dude and steal his money. But I'm going to take the money and I'm going to do something good with it. You going to commit that to Yahweh? You'll be like, nah, I'm just going to go ahead and just spend that money on some weed because, I'm not going to commit that to Yahweh. So then you got to think, if I can't commit this deed to Yahweh, I'm about to punch that brother in his face. If I can't commit that deed to Yahweh, I probably don't need to do that. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Brother, I wanted to bring this little part in. That's somewhat similar, even for the evil. When I say maybe there was the Sanhedrin or whatever that probably paid off Judas Iscariot, those silver. But when it was brought back and he threw it on the ground, homeboy ain't picking it up, put that back in the treasure because it's been tainted. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yet, y'all did it.
Right.
So they put it back in there. So in other words, it's like a fake truth. In other words, you the one who did this evil, but yet now you don't want to take the money because I think the money is soiled. No, you soiled. Both of y'all.
Well, they're carnal. They're carnal.
That's right.
So they don't have to see. They don't have to see Yahshua being taken away. They can just pull the strings and have it done. But when they got to actually see the money. And they know it's wicked. No, that's wicked. That's I can look at that. That's wicked money right there because I know that was used to do wickedness. So you told on yourself.
Right.
You told on yourself. But it was easier to identify it because they could see that.
Go ahead, brother. Verse 5. Everyone that is proud in heart is an abomination to Yahweh. Though hand join in hand, he shall not be unpunished. By mercy and truth, iniquity is purged, and by the fear of Yahweh men depart from evil. When a man's ways please Yahweh, even his enemies, he makes even his enemies to be at peace with him.
So it says, by the fear of Yah, men depart from evil. So think what blessing it is that Yah showed you his fear. That he made you fear him. As a child, the way a child fears their parent, like, oh, don't spank me, Daddy. He made you fear him. He could have not shown you his spirit until it was the day of judgment. Mm-hmm. So think about that when you deal with these brothers out here that's utterly lost and confused and coming against you. That Yah hasn't shown them that fear. Go ahead.
Verse 8. Better is a little with righteousness than great revenues without right. A man's heart devises his way, but Yahweh directs his steps. A divine sentence is in the lips of the king. His mouth transgresses not in judgment. A just weight and balance are Yahweh. All the weight of the bag are his work. It is an abomination to kings to commit wickedness, for the throne is established by righteousness. Righteous lips are the delight of kings, and they love him that speaks right. The wrath of a king is as messengers of death, but a wise man will pacify it. In the light of the king's countenance is life, and his favor is as a cloud of the latter rain. How much better it is to get wisdom than gold, and to get understanding rather to be chosen than silver?
Because if you get that wisdom and you get that understanding, you have a better ability to try the spirit, to discern spirits, so that you can stay away from those things that's going to cause you your death. You can have all the money in the world. That can't buy your death away. That can help stop it a little bit. But at the end of the day, your wickedness is eventually going to kill you. And even if you save your body a little bit, what is 5, 10, 15 years added onto your life compared to an eternity in a lake of fire? That's like losing a fraction of a millisecond of your life. What difference does that freaking make?
Verse 17. The highway of the upright is to depart from evil. He that keeps his way preserves his soul. Pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. Better it is to be of a humble spirit with the lowly than to divide spoil with the proud. He that handles a matter wisely shall find good, and whoso trusts in Yahweh, happy is he. The wise in heart shall be called prudent, and the sweetness of the lips increases understanding. Understanding is a wellspring of life unto him that has it, but the instructions of fools is folly. The heart of the wise teaches his mouth, and adds learning to his lips. Pleasant words are as an honeycomb, sweet to the soul, and health to the bones. There is a way that seems right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death. He that labors for himself, for his mouth craves it of him. An evil man digs up evil, and in his lips there is as a burning fire. A froward man sows strife, and a whisperer separates chief friends. A violent man entices his neighbor, and leads him into the way that is not good. He shuts his eyes to devise froward things. Moving his lips, he brings evil to pass. The hoary head is a crown of glory, if it be found in the way of righteousness.
So it's a crown of glory to be an elder, because you have lived life, you have survived, and you should have learned from a lot of your mistakes that you can help other individuals. But if you ain't walking in righteousness, it means nothing. So even as a youngster, where you automatically want to seem that elder, you're already in that position, you still got to be able to discern spirits. Because if they was all that righteous, why are we not in the land right now? We'd be in the land. So there was something not necessarily right. And also, why are they dead? Why do people die? Go ahead.
Verse 32. He that is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he that rules his spirit than he that takes a city. The lot is cast into the lap, but the whole disposing thereof is of Yahweh.
All right. So that's all we're going to do today. We just want to keep in mind that Yahweh directed the steps of man. He didn't say he only just directs the step of the wicked. If you have decided, of the righteous, if you have decided that you want to walk in wickedness, Yahweh will direct you right towards wickedness. Go ahead. Go ahead. I've been trying to figure out what I'm going to use you for. You a good vessel of dishonor, just like I knew you would be. He'll let you use just like that lying spirit, the one that said, "Oh, I'll be a lying spirit." He's like, "Great, I needed somebody to go here and do this job. I can't do it because I'm perfect. I don't lie. You want to go ahead and do it? I ain't gonna stop you, because guess what? I know it's gonna all work in my will." So we have to learn to stop looking at people. There's another place that we didn't read today, but it says, it's not flesh and blood that we struggling with. It's spiritual wickedness in high places, powers and principalities, and all these different people that are ruling. These are spirits you're dealing with. So if you're going to use your eyes and what's beneficial to your flesh to guide you, you're just going to be used for firewood, point blank. So that's all we're going to do today. Any last comments or questions before we close out in prayer? All right.